everyone. Welcome to today's session. My name is Aloud. Today we're discussing language and communication development. Language development is talking about how children learn the letter sounds, use the letter sounds to form words, use the words to form sentences, and use the sentences to make complete meanings. They give meanings to whatever they are saying. That is what language simply means. Communication development is how children converse, how they do conversations with other people. It is important at this point to know that when they converse, the person they are conversing with understands what they are saying. That's just it about communication. Language is not about words. It's about understanding and being understood. And both of them, language and communication, are very important. They apply to every aspect of children's learning process. How do babies communicate? We're talking babies 0 to 6 months. Babies between this age group cry. They cry that's the means of communication, because they cannot express themselves. They cannot say what is wrong. So the only medium of communication here is, crying. When a baby cries, the parent or mother knows there's a need. And then, in this case now, I can't even say the mother alone. I'm talking either the caregiver, anybody that is, has the baby around. That's the only way the person will know there is a need for attention, so to say. They respond to voices. Anybody can be around and talk. They turn that way. Do you understand? So responding to voices means they are picking voices that they can use. They can use that to become attached to the person. So oftentimes they listen, they hear these things, they're processing it in their minds. Who is this person? So when they keep hearing that same voice over and over again, that's how the attachment forms. They know this is my caretaker. They don't know the person I say, but they know this is somebody I know. And then they feel safe. That's where security comes in. They feel safe. If it's a total strange voice, they heard the voice, but they do not identify with the voice. You understand? So they respond to voices, they respond to crying, they respond to eye contact. So you sit in front of me. I've seen this face before. That's what is going on in their head. And I recognize this. And the face will not just be staring. The face will be making the hello, the baby is watching and is reacting. Over time, if the baby keeps seeing that face, anytime the face shows up, they're excited, they're happy. Babies from 6 months to 12 months are a bit older than 0 to 6. At this time, they are familiar a bit with the environment. So people who walk around the environment, they can identify when they see them. So when such people come and make a sound to them, they tend to copy them. They listen to that sound over and over again, then they tend to copy them. So if it is Baba, they go Baba, If it is Tata, they go Tata. So they're making effort to begin to speak up, but they speak what they hear around them. That is why it's important not to just say anything anyhow. And also they're able to do maybe things that whoever that person is around them, yes, is, doing. So if you clap, they clap. If maybe in the course of changing nappies, for example, you sing, even if they cannot sing, they hum after they hum, after you, they hum, whichever way, they just know you're making some sounds and they make some sounds too. Okay, you point or you wave, they repeat the same thing. So they practically mimic everything they see. And when there's a flash of light, You see, they turn their eyes towards that side. So they're very, very familiar or very, very conscious of the environment and what goes on. So you call a child by his name. That child, I said it, mimics it after you. They practically just repeat what you are saying. So, and that's how they know that it is their name you're calling, because each time you see them, you see that child, you call that child's name. And so that child realizes that this is my name. So when you call, the next thing is you just see the child look that direction, even if he has not seen the person before. And up until the time they will start to answer yes or okay, depending on how the carer, or parent teaches them. The ages of 12 months, right, to 24, that's one to two. Of course, children at this age can talk back at you. Okay, there are some words they have picked, and so they can actually say those words. When you say eyes, they can tell you eyes. When you say nose, they can tell you nose. You're pointing at it, they are repeating the same thing, but repeating that name as you say it to them. So they are able to pick names and say them correctly. Again, like I said, whoever is within that environment must learn to speak the right thing. Some people have this habit of, they are still children, and then you say things in the wrong way. That's not encouraged. Why? Because at that stage, those children are learning through you. So if you say it correctly, they'll pick it, and that's the way they will continue to work with it. But if you say it in the wrong way, you understand? So for people who say tata or baba, it's wrong. If the name is mama, say mama. If the name of the person is father or daddy, say daddy. Don't dad, except it is dada you want to really teach your child to mean father or daddy. Do you understand? Say the right things. Don't say wrong words and thinking that they will understand as they grow up. No, you're already teaching them the wrong way. Teach them the right thing. Also, from 12 to 24 months, children tend to combine words at this time, and they gesticulate also. For example, you can have a child say, "Mommy, come. Let's go. Sit down. Give me." Those are words, two different words, spoken out by them, but communicating something to whoever, whether the carer or the parent, whoever the person is that is with them at that particular time. That is how they learn, to say, their words. When you give an instruction, go, that's just one instruction. You understand? Go sit or sit down. You understand? You're asking the child to sit down. He will sit on the chair. Sit and eat your food. It's becoming more complicated. You understand? For a child, some people will feel it's too much, but it is not. What you have done is you started with go, sit down, and that child got all those things done correctly. So you don't need to wait. You're pushing, you understand, the child further. Sit down, eat your food. You understand? Set your table, pack your plates, or clear your table. They understand these languages, and that is why, or this thing you're communicating to them, and that is why they are obeying you and doing it correctly. If in the process of responding to the instruction you give to them, they don't do it right, it means they did not understand it. So for you who is giving that instruction, it is a signal that you should visit that again to be sure that that child understands. Then you would go. So you can see now that from sounding letters to forming words, from forming words, they're reading, they're beginning to blend those words, and it's making sense to them. So whatever instruction you give to them at whatever level, they are able to understand. So you don't see them function when you have not taught them. So you can see it's a step at a time, from the known to the unknown. For 3 to 5, they're able to form words. Okay, with the letter sounds they have learned, they're able to form words. Could be 2-letter words. At, am, go. Those are some of these words are sight words. Okay. Those are for the 2-letter. Now let's go to maybe a 3-letter words. Cat, bat. Okay, can. All right, can as in a can of Coke. Coca-Cola. All right. So they proceed. So they form words. They form words and form phrases. Phrases are incomplete sentences that does not make sense. The cat sat. You ask the question, doing what? There's no information regarding that. So it is an incomplete sentence. They now move to the cat sat on the mat. That is a complete sentence for them, because at that time they would have learned, they know capital letters, they know small letters, they know how to begin a sentence, they know how to end a sentence. So for them, phrases, for example, which is an incomplete sentence, they do not necessarily have to start with capital letter, and it does not end with full stop. So for them, they know it's incomplete. You understand? And that is why it's a phrase. Okay? But where you have the cat sat on the mat, do you understand? The cat, it begins with a capital letter, it ends with a full stop. So when they read it, they know that it's a full and complete sentence. They are making sense. At ages 2 to 3, you have children, begin to ask simple questions like, where is mommy? Where is my toy? Can I have my bag? Can I have my lunch? Can I go and play? Some of them can go that far, making short sentences with 2 to 3 words, sometimes 4 words, that you can have within this age bracket. Understanding concepts like big, small, fat, thin, tall, short. They can, they are able to identify, or learn these words. And with pictures, though, using pictures helps them to internalize it. So when you say someone is fat and someone is thin, bringing them side by side would make them understand that, okay, when you say fat, this is what it means. Thin, this is it. So that concept of thin, fat, they can get it. Now, tall, short, same way. You can use a ruler, you can use a pencil, any object around them that they are familiar with, they see regularly, can be useful, to teach them at this point. They can also learn words like close is a concept, close, open. You could use the door to close and you could open it. So apart from maybe closing a cup and opening it, you could also use the doorway, because they come in through it. Anything around them that can, help them remember that concept to stick faster in their memory. Children between the ages of 3 to 5 are older, and they can express themselves a little bit better than those from 2 to 3. At this age, they can tell exactly what they want to say. They can make longer sentences like, I want to go and ease myself. I want to take some water. Can I pick my pencil? They can do this comfortably because they have learned better and they understand better. They know what sentences are. They know how to put those sentences together to make up, to express themselves, say exactly what they want, to do. That's for 3 to 5. Children within the age bracket of 3 to 5 can also tell stories and make sense out of it. They can put their imaginations together to create their stories and tell them. They can act, play roles in the process. They can do that too. They understand at this level the need or the importance of respecting each other, in the sense of when someone is talking, you wait until that person is done before you talk. And so they take their turns and not interrupt, their conversations. Also at this stage, children are able to retell situations. For example, they go to school, they can come back home and tell their parents exactly, or at least tell their parents what happened in school. So they can present, issues or cases, or whatever happens around them, they can retell it and still make a lot of sense. In addition to this, at this stage, children are expected to be reading. So they are able to read. Why? Because they have learned their sounds. They have been able to blend, those letter words. They've formed words with it, and they are able to blend those words to form sentences. So they have a clear understanding of how to sound, how to form words, how to blend those words. And in blending them, they are able to make a sense out of, their reading. So what they now practice over the time is try and read and read and read again. And before you know it, they're fluent. Language and communication development helps children in managing their emotions. How does this work? When children get into frustration, when they are angry, how do they manage this? In this case, they can't do this alone. They need the support of an adult that is around to regulate it. How they regulate is, number one, validate what makes them angry or makes that child angry. By validating it, that child feels he's seen and he's supported. Then questions can be asked. You seem not to be happy. An example, that child feels calmer, in that rather than the adult shouting and yelling at him, that adult is actually drawing him closer by accepting the fact that it's good to feel angry, but come, let's talk about it. That is how to regulate their emotions. Adults around must do everything they can to make this happen. How can we all support our children with language and communication development? We can support them by listening to them when they speak with us. We talk to them and listen to them. And we do this intentionally. Give them all the attention that they need. We can also read books to them. They can read to us and we pay attention. While they're reading, we are listening to them. And if need be, make few corrections here and there, but let them know that we are 100% involved in what they're doing. We should also encourage them tell stories. While they're telling their stories, Remember, they're imagining, they're putting their imagination skills into practice. We should encourage them by listening to them and help also where there's need to make corrections. Just assure them that they are doing well. When they get our support while doing their storytelling and reading their books, what we do is we're encouraging them to express themselves. We're not hindering them in any way. That helps build the language and communication. Now, some might have issues with this, maybe having challenges. Those who have challenges need not, be discouraged. They still need our encouragement. What we can do is seek for maybe professional help, talk with the teachers, and who can help come up with ways to help that child, from improving on his language or her language and communication development. Language and communication development helps children build their social skills. And I want us to take a look at the empathy. How do children empathize with each other? A child empathizes, for example, when he has two toys and another child is just there standing without any toy to play with. And the one who has two toys just decided on his own or her own to share, one of the toys with the one that does not have. That is plain empathy. He has empathized with the other child. We should encourage this. Children should be able to manage their emotions. How do they do that? On their own, it might not be completely easy. They need someone to help them. Language and communication development also helps prepare children for their numeracy and literacy classes. They are able to take instructions as to what should be done. For example, in numeracy, if they are asked to add 2 and 2 together, they understand what addition means. And they know that it means putting together those two numbers to get a final total number. And if it is literacy, we've talked about them using it in, making sentences. We've talked about them using it to form words. We've also talked about them, using it to tell stories or even read, short story notes or books. This is how important it is. It builds their confidence and to be able to express themselves in any form they are exposed to. Language and communication development we mentioned is very important. Delay in it can actually affect, the final performance of children in all that they do as far as it has to do with learning. Children that have delays will not be able to read. They may not be able to tell stories. They may not be able to even blend words or form words. This is what it can do. And when that happens, they lose confidence in themselves. They lack the ability to express themselves, to tell what they feel. They end up, shutting down. And this can be done gradually. And if attention is not given, it affects them completely. They don't just do well. They don't believe in themselves any longer. Let's think of language as a bridge. Every word, every gesture, every conversation builds a child's learning and development. We have come to the end of today's session. Thank you very much. Please remember to like, subscribe, press the post notification, and I'll see you in the next video.